Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to take the 5 biblical pillars of a healthy student ministry that we saw in the last video, and we're going to talk about how do we plan a student event calendar that balances those and helps grow your students in health. And I'm going to show you, I hope this will answer a lot of questions maybe you've wondered about or wrestled with how to plan your year out, your calendar. So when I started, I had 12 events. I had one a month. That was stupid. Do not do that. That will kill you, your family, your workers, and your students, okay? And your budget if you have one. So that was way too much. And I also didn't allow enough time to promote each event enough and accurately and get people involved. So now, over the past 15 years, I've adjusted now to about 5 or 6 key events throughout the whole year, and 2 of those are large. So one may be a student camp for a week, and the other one may be a mission trip for a week. Those are really big things that have a lot of impact in students' life. The rest of them are smaller and cheaper and allow the students to save up money or to raise money for the bigger events that happen most of the time in the summer. So I'm going to walk you through how can we think through our event calendar and make sure we balance it for the health of our ministry. Now, before I do that, I do want you to know not everybody agrees with me, and that's okay. If you disagree, it's totally cool. I was talking with Doug Franklin once, the president of LeaderTracks, and he disagreed with me. He said he thinks that every group has their own DNA, and so if like your DNA is serving, then y'all just need to serve all the time. And if your DNA is missions, y'all just need to do missions all the time. And I just disagree with him because I think the DNA of every student is going to be crazy fun lockout with not anything spiritual 99% of the time. That's what most students are going to choose. So I believe we have to help them grow in areas they don't even know they really need to grow. So here we go. So I use what's called the pyramid, and these are levels of programming on the pyramid. So level 1, we're going to call it relationship building. Okay, so this is where you have an event or two where the goal is just to build relationships with students. It's going to be fun, crazy, lock-in, bowling, snow skiing, whatever. You're just getting together, having fun. Invite your friends. It's going to be great. Just building relationships. Well, then level 2 is evangelism. So level 2, oops, I totally spelled that wrong. Evangelism. So this is where you're going to have an event and you're like telling your students, you're giving them a heads up, I'm going to share the gospel. And so I want you to bring all your lost friends, any of them you know who are far from God. I want you to bring them, and we're going to share the gospel, and then we're going to go out. So maybe it's a lock-in, and then you're going to share the gospel first, and then have the lock-in or whatever. It's a strategic event that we're going for the gospel. The point of this is the gospel. So that's evangelism. Number 3, we call it, you can call it Bible study / worship. This is really more about, the Bible says more like the Wednesday evening stuff, but it's about really like kind of, the worship element, exposing them to, worship spiritual things. Wednesday night really kind of hits these, especially if you have a worship team or a band or whatever. But this is where you're showing them, teaching them about God, like how to worship Him and why it's a big deal. It's kind of like the first step of growing deep, and we just want to really focus on who God is. I don't know why I keep putting 2 dots over my eyes. It's my ADD, probably. Anyways, so Bible study and worship. Level 4, this is where you're going deep. This is leadership development. Okay, now this right here, this is what we call discipleship. Okay, this is the more one-on-one, life-on-life, 1-on-2, 1-on-3, 1-on-5, but it's small group pouring in. You're trying to make disciples, raise up these disciples who get the whole picture. It's not just about fun. They're reading. You're wanting to teach them to read the Bible, to pray, to really grow, to serve others, to find their gifts, to plug in, to do missions. Like this is where we want to really make them spiritual leaders. And so that's the spiritual leadership development there. And then number 5 is when we're going to unleash them. This is leadership reproduction. So this is when we're going to unleash them to do their ministry. So this is an event where it's like they get to serve. So maybe it's a mission trip. Maybe they're building a ramp or they're evangelizing or talking to someone. They're going out and using their gifts. Maybe it's a going to the nursing home. That was a big one our students do. Is we go to the nursing home and to see students praying with older people, sitting there doing crafts, loving on them. It's a selfless giving of service to someone else. And it's always interesting, again, talk about where students are at. You will have like for a lockout down here or a lock-in, you may have, tons of kids, 20, 30, 50, 100, but you're going to have 8 who want to go to the nursing home. So again, that's the spiritual level. So you're going to have a lot of kids down here, and you're going to build them. And as you build them, you're going to have fewer at the top, but that's okay. So if you have a handful, you have 1, 2, 3, 5, you have a handful that are really cooking for Jesus, I mean, that's a win. That is great. You know what I'm saying? So don't discount it. Everybody's going to be here. Love them where they're at, no matter where they're at, but you want to try to build, and this is where we want to go. This is the purpose behind being a student pastor in the first place. If you're like me, I'm sure you didn't get into this because you like eating pizza and playing basketball or video games, because you can do that anytime, anywhere with no pressure, okay? This is about, we want to make a difference, we want to make an impact, we want to change a generation. We believe students can change their schools, they can change the world. And so this is that pathway of how can we begin to intentionally do that through our calendar. Now, if you'll notice, the 5 biblical foundations are all over here. We got ministry, discipleship, worship, evangelism, and this one is, ding, 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 you got it, fellowship. So it's just about being together, building relationships, and fellowshipping together. So once you understand this, now here's where you actually plan it out. So check this out. So let's say we're going to plan our student calendar. Let's say we got January, March, let's go June, July, horrible writer, I'm sorry, September. We'll just do that as an example. So let's say we're going to do level 1. So let's say level 1, we're going to do a snow skiing. Now, I don't do snow skiing, but I'm sure some of y'all out there do. And so snow skiing, say, I'm going to take my students away, and it's not spiritual at all. It's simply building relationships, in which, in essence, honestly, that is a very spiritual thing. It's just we're not getting the Bible out, we're not sharing the gospel. It's focused on loving people and just being with them and building relationships. So that'll be level 1. Then let's say we're going to do level 2, evangelism. Let's say we're going to have a lock-in in March. And we're going to tell everybody to bring to this lock-in, bring all your lost friends. We're going to share the gospel and give them a heads up, let them know what we're doing, what they're getting into, and bring them, and let's do it. Okay, level 3, let's say Bible study and worship. Let's go down here. We'll put that here. We're going to go to a concert. We're going to go to a concert. David Crowder. We're going to go to David Crowder, and we're just going to worship, and we're going to hear, truth taught, and we're going to talk about putting God first in our life, and so let's expose our kids to worship. So this will be level 3 right here. Well, then level 4, leadership development. I think a big part of that happens at student camp. Let's say June. So level 4 is in June. That's our student camp event. So we're going to pour into these kids, and we may take, you may take 5, 10, 15, 20, but there's going to be 2 or 3 that you're going to pour into that, really are hungry, and they press into you, and you press back into them. And the old adage, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can't choose which students are going to grow in Jesus. You can only respond when they show hunger. But the cool thing is, the only thing you need to be a growing disciple is hunger. That's it. If you're hungry, they'll learn. They'll ask questions. They'll dig. That's it. So watch for that hunger. And so then lastly, we're going to do a mission. And that's going to be our, let's say that'll be our level 5. So that's the one where we're going to take these core students, these 3, 5, 4, 2, whatever. We're going to take them and we're going to unleash them and we're going to serve with them, but they're going to be beside us using their gifts and ministering to people and really in action. And so when you do that, you look over your calendar and you can show your parents, you can show your students, you can show your team, your adult team of volunteers, that this is intentional. This is why we do what we do. And it gives everybody, it gives them more excitement and value that we're not just shooting from the hip. We're not just here to hang out and play games. We are here to change lives and in turn change the world. So this is intentional. I believe it honors God, and it will fire your people up. So I pray this helps you today. If you have any questions, email me. I'll be glad to answer anything I can. God bless you, and I hope you have a great day.